Peace and love, everyone. Turn myself down a little bit. Maybe you can hear the birds outside a little bit. Are they talking? Nope. I'll turn them right down unless they come back. Oh, that's a little loud. That is a little loud. There we go. That's a little better. Peace and love to everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks, Ken, for the super chat. Yes, absolutely. California is still in our prayers, and so is the whole world too. Lots of things going on, but California in particular. So, hi, peace and love, and welcome to the live stream. Oh, no audio. No audio. I can hear myself. One, two, three. Oh, you hear me? Audio is okay. Thanks, everybody. All right, cool. Good. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. All right. Hey, peace and love, and welcome to Not Church. As a near-death unity experiencer of oneness, my life has been irrevocably transformed by unconditional, infinite love, the ineffable beloved, God by many names and no name. Here at Not Church Sundays, we delve into the lost or church ignored mysticism of Jesus, aka Yeshua. We draw upon ancient Aramaic and Koine Greek Gospels, canonical and non-canonical, that's the Bible ones and the non-Bible ones, and compare them to the mystical texts across the ages, east and west, and around the world. And what do we find? We find oneness everywhere. And I'm going to invite you to the Mystic Tea Salon following this. You can look for the Zoom link, and it's going to be at the top of the hour. It's in the description. I'm going to begin by talking about the Telepathy Tapes podcast. I'd love to talk about that. If you've heard it, please come. Even if you haven't, please come. Now, through my lifelong spiritual journey, I've learned that there are mystical truths, and the unity in oneness transcend our individual identity, connecting us to the extraordinary life with a capital L within and all around us. And today, we're going to look at John 15, 1 and 2, and they conceal a profound mystical meaning and a similar noetic understanding as expressed in Jewish and Hindu mysticism. So that's where we're headed today. I'm going to say hello to folks over there. Hey, Sundre. Hey, Big Gaz. Suzanne. Ascending Leo. Michelle. Candyman. Jen. Hey, yeah, make sure to hit that like button. I appreciate that. All right, so let's do a little breath work to begin with, kind of settle us in. I got to turn, make sure my buddy who's texting me, one of our professors from Yale passed away recently. He's texted me about it. Anyway, take a breath here. The true vine, an ancient metaphor for unity. Now, here's the Aramaic meaning of John 15:1 by Dr. Douglas Klotz. I'll tell you what this is in a minute. So you'll hear this first, and then you'll hear the familiar translation. Connecting I to the only I, capital O, capital I. Connecting I to the only I is the vine, rooted, giving, opening to life. A life leading you in the right direction at the right time and place. The breath of life of all is the only source and goal, the germ and mystery within the fruits of our actions. And you may know this from the Greek, I am the true vine, and my parent is the vineyarder. The metaphor of the vine and branches, familiar to many of you, denuded of its patriarchy, as emphasized in the Aramaic Gospels, parent, not father, offers insightful spiritual wisdom. It's rooted in unity, The vine nourishes and sustains all the branches like a mother's milk, reminding us that all life itself is interconnected beneath the quantum level. The breath of life, the spirit flows within us, within all of us, giving us life and guiding us to the right path at the right time and place when we give the isness, the verb of the divine's love, the space to lead us. Our life purpose is this fruitfulness, and we achieve this by aligning our interior lives and our actions with the life force loving parent and reflecting its vitality of humility and our surrender, allowing it to do its work to prune us. When I met the overwhelming, beautiful light during my first NDE, the isness revealed itself as the one overflowing life force, brightness, creating all existence always. It's this flow that is in all things, the vine itself. Now let's continue on to John 15:2. The vineyarder removes every branch in me that bears no fruit. The vineyarder prunes every branch that bears fruit to make it bear more fruit. So the vineyarder cuts the fruiting after it's fruited, and it cuts the places that bore no fruit. Now from the Aramaic. The vine extends branches, receiving and passing on life. The life energy of a branch is connected to me, but not sprouting is taken up into itself. So something that's not sprouting is taken back into the divine. Every branch that bears abundantly also gets purified and pruned, so more fruit appears. Now, the Aramaic translation, the meaning of this passage provides a mystical and more nuanced understanding of pruning and fruit bearing. And in the Aramaic, the word kadao, kadu, means to cleanse or to purify, suggesting that pruning is not an act of punishment, my dear friends, although it may feel that way, but one of love and refinement. Just as a vine or any flowering plant redirects its energy so that it can be fruitful, it redirects. You get a pruning, and then the energy of the plant gets redirected so it becomes more fruitful. It branches into fruitfulness. So does the divine prune us, purify us, enabling us to grow in abundance. Life itself prunes us. We have grief and loss and trauma. These are prunings. But so are the abundant fruit that we bear. That branch gets pruned as well. And I recently read a science article about how plants express suffering in chemical communications when pruned. I cut the branch. You ever feel that? I always felt like I was hurting the plant. I could feel the pain of the plant. I know that's ridiculous, but not really, because I can feel it when I do a lot of pruning. I've pruned a lot in my life, and every time it feels like, you poor plant. And the pruning hurts the plant. It releases these chemical signals that are measurable, but it also, pruning allows for healthy new growth. Heck, I pruned I had aphids on my hibiscus, and I had to prune it wicked, like seriously prune this thing. And I knew that it was the plant's like, what are you doing to me? It'll be better for it. Now, the hell of my NDE was also a pruning, a cleansing, a purifying. Now, suppose I walk through 1,000 years of purification, of pruning in life after life, and in the afterlife, repeatedly incarnated. In that case, I will joyfully and willingly be pruned 1,000,000 times to reach the eternal, the eternity, the love on offer, the beautiful paradise I felt, saw, understood, experienced in the presence of the life force vine of all. a million zillion times prune me, if only I can re-enter that inner chamber of unity, where bliss and paradise exists far beyond human brain comprehension. This is too small. And in this lifetime, as I live and breathe, the cleansings, the purifyings, the prunings are all things of me that aren't in the vine flow, which I drink through a vine-like umbilical cord, feeding my heart of me, the heart of me. I choose to self-prune, prune and prune. I prune attachments to my lower self, as Yeshua taught and lived, as many taught and lived. This results in the beloved sweetness of the vine coming to reside, abide, it's an Aramaic word in there, abide and empower me, channeling through me the juicy, sweet fruit of heaven here and now. And Jesus tells us that this is for all of us. Branches that fail to bear fruit aren't discarded in judgment, but are absorbed back into the vine's life force, redirected and transformed. Now, where did all my sins go in my hellish experience, part of my NDE? Ashes, ashes, they all fall down. Ashes, ashes, they were then composted. They were absorbed back into the life force of the soil, back into the unconditional welcome and love. This imagery speaks to the cyclical and nurturing nature of the divine, the benevolent, the possessor of supreme power, which is less about cutting away and more about encouraging new green growth, flower buds and fruit. I prune myself through meditation, and new shoots, flowers, and fruits grow. They just do, because they're connected to the vine, which is rooted in the eternal. The transformative mystical experiences they keep giving to us. If you've had one, they keep giving to us, especially when we continue to prune. And if you've had a mystical experience of any kind, transformative mystical experience of any type, if you prune, you will develop more branches, more buds, more fruit. Becomes like a bubble in which I live. A bubble of heaven. I've talked about that. Grapevines in season are burdened with an abundance of luscious hanging fruit because the vineyarder prunes. It's a process of renewal, removing what hinders and allowing what is fruitful to flourish. The relationship between the vine and the flow and the branches is sacred, like these bird sounds. I'm turning them down a little bit. They're a little closer to the mic. It's the relationship between the vine, the flow, and its branches. It's sacred. It's personal. It's mystical. The vine is the source of life, while the branches, including humans and birds, plants and other animals, plankton, everything living, extend and express that life through our fruitfulness. To abide in the vine is to dwell within the unity consciously, in the unity consciously, and the unity consciousness, in the field, in this universal consciousness, this cosmos of the divine, which is the source of your consciousness. And we'll talk a little bit about that at Mystic Tea Salon, the telepathy tapes. In Aramaic, the term for abide, here it is, the word abide, means remaining and dwelling, remaining, ing, and dwelling, ing, a continual active presence of the divine in the divine, which is best when tended. Even the Greek phrase takes away is often misunderstood in Christian English. It's more accurately rendered shak in Aramaic, which conveys the idea of redirecting energy. This reinterpretation transforms the verse from a lens of judgment to one of grace and purpose. The weaker branches, or those that have borne fruit, are lovingly pruned, allowing their energy to be reinvested in new growth. And it reminds us that spiritual growth is an ongoing journey of purification and renewal. It's not an end stop. Enlightenment is not an end stop. Awakening is not an end stop. It's a beginning. It's a continuation. And now we're going to come to an important aspect: mystical peace and the balance of transcendence and immanence. As we explore these teachings further, we recently, as we explored these teachings previously, I should have said, we recently talked about John 14:27, where we encountered Yeshua's message. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. This peace embodies the delicate balance of the transcendent and the immanent. It's a gift that surpasses understanding, offering serenity amid life's turbulence. That's what this does. It gives serenity amidst the life of turbulence. Connection to the divine brings this peace. Now, ancient Jewish, Hindu, and Christian mysticism all reflect this balance. They teach that peace arises from the connection to the divine and active participation in the world, both inside and outside. It's a harmony born of abiding in the vine while bearing fruit for others. The fruit is not for yourself. It's not for me. Mysticism and mystical experiences aren't selfish. It's not about me or you. It's about bearing light into the world for the coming ascension that's already begun. You light bearers, you friends. Now, in mystical thought, in Jewish mystical thought, particularly in the Kabbalah, there's this thing called Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. And it emphasizes our responsibility to restore harmony by aligning ourselves with the divine will and performing righteous deeds. This practice involves spiritual devotion and ethical action, interior devotion, ethical action, reflecting the understanding that inner spiritual work must manifest in tangible contributions to societal well-being. It must, because it will. Of its own will, it will do that. You don't have to try. You do have to participate and try, but in and of itself, the light will bring these contributions should you let them out. We bring light and compassion into this world. Additionally, meditation in Judaism is an expression of various mystical traditions, is a means of achieving profound introspection and connection with divine wisdom. Interior practice in the Kabbalah is the same as what we do. It's the same done around the world. Such contemplative practices are designed to lead to spiritual insight. That's what happens when you practice. And union with the beloved, further promoting this inner peace that extends outward through ethical living. This is not separate. It's included in the world. And Jewish meditation, it's a practice here. This is what it is, all right? It's a practice that involves concentration, introspection, and visualization to deepen one's connection. Does that sound familiar to you? It's the same thing. Now, Hindu mystical texts such as the Upanishads explore the realization that the Atman, the inner self, and its unity with the Brahman, the ultimate reality, the soul and the one of the divine. This realization is actualized through karma yoga, the path of selfless action, or as Christians call it, servanthood, or the fruit from an interior life. The Bhagavad Gita, for instance, teaches that by dedicating one's actions to the beloved without attachment to the outcomes, the vine doesn't, I mean, the vine doesn't care who eats the fruit. I'm not attached to the fruit. The fruit falls off. It gets mushed barefoot and made wine, or some deer comes along and eats it. Individuals attain inner peace by this without attachment to the outcome. And we contribute positively to the world's well-being. Or as Jesus said, from the heart, the mouth speaks. And as I interpret, from the heart, the actions speak. Mystical knowledge and noetic understanding aren't separate from our lives. We're not in our cells somewhere, monastic cells, isolated. When we live as branches of the vine, the fruit we produce becomes our love offerings to the world as we live where we are, what we do, in the car, on the grocery store, wherever you are, in your house. Imperfect as we are, we're also simultaneously perfect in love itself, the very goodness of your original being, your original goodness. Find it and find yourself, your own immortal nature. What does it take? You got to tap the vine. You got to prune yourself. Share your fruit. And when you're pruned by life, accept it. And know that you'll be better for it if you keep your heart in devotion. If you're new here to Not Church, our community, welcome. Here we seek to deepen our understanding of mystical truths, guided partly by Yeshua's transformative teachings and the universal principles of unity. Through study, meditation, and reflection, we aim to live out the fruits of the Spirit. I do anyway, and I know you guys do too. Nurturing our connection to the divine interiorly and with each other in community. We have other weekly offerings designed to help you live your purpose, such as on Tuesdays, we have our Yoga Sutra and Kriya Yoga class. Check them out at peterpanagore.love. Literally, your gifts keep me working for you and God, and I super appreciate all the support. And thank you also for the people who are sponsoring spiritual counseling scholarships, because I'm using them for many people. Thank you. I help many because of your support. So join us again at the top of the hour in a few minutes at Mystic Tea Salon on Zoom. It's a worldwide community of mystical experiencers, NDEers, psychedelics, meditation, out of body, spiritually transformative, all sorts of mystical experiences. And you can find the link in the description below. And we have peace. No, the rules are humility, compassion, kindness, authenticity, and experience. That's what we talk about. That's the framework we use. So peace to you, everyone. May your hearts be open. May your journey lead to an ever deeper, life-sustaining, eternity-sustaining connection to the source of all being. Well, I'm going to take a look at the chat over here. I'm going to move the screen. The light's bouncing off it a little bit there. That's a little bit better. The Aramaic word that means within also means among. Andrew, yes, among, within. Thank you, Andrew. There's a Greek connection with that too. Also there. I need to heavily prune my male mulberry after it should fruit. Should I cut it down? It's rotted, growing dryads, saddles, and ink caps. I've been observing. Oh, that's a question that I'm not sure. I've never had a mulberry tree. But I suspect it probably needs pruning, and if it's rotting, well, then that's a whole nother problem. You might want to contact your county extension, if you have a county extension. We do, and they might. It's an agricultural thing, and many counties have them, and they might be able to come over and tell you. Or I'd look it up online. Thank you for the super chat there, Rose. Appreciate that for the support. Thanks for the thumbs up there, Michelle. The frequency of thought matters. One needs to tune our mind to the question to oneself would be, what would our Savior do in this situation? How would he respond? What would Jesus do? That's the thing. WWJD. What would Jesus do? That really is the question. And in Eastern Orthodoxy, very different from the Western Christianity. In Eastern Orthodoxy, the aspiration is the imitation of Christ. The imitation of Christ. It's less about the dogmatism and more about treating people with kindness and love and compassion. The imitation of Christ. Exactly. Thank you, Peter. You're a bright light. Oh, thanks, Diane. Peace be with you all. You too, Leo. Thank you. Clouds are rolling in New Hampshire. It's going to be a stormy night on the coast here. Yeah, it sure is. We'll see if we have power tomorrow morning. My son Richard was a tree surgeon and saved a tree by his expert pruning. That is the way it goes. And Rose says, act as if it is. That's right. Act as if it is. Act as if it is. And it becomes. Hi, Susan. When I am in tune with Christ, I can feel the peace in my belly. Yeah, there's this space kind of below the solar plexus and above the navel where peace abides. And you can see that. You can see this in the yoga charts that have that show that particular part of us, the energy part of us. I feel it there too, Suzanne. Amma says, Amma, the Guru, Amma says the plants feel afraid when someone approaches and casually tears a leaf. She says we just don't know their language. This is true. We're finding out. I've been doing a lot of reading around language, animal language, plant language, that kind of stuff. Science around it. There's a lot of languages we don't understand. And plants is one of them for sure. And we're not the only conscious beings on this planet. There's a wonderful book called The Secret Life of Plants. I read that, Rose. That's a great book, The Secret Life of Plants. I'm really glad you brought that up. It's a few years old, but it's still an excellent book. It's the only way forward, says Big Gaz. You're welcome, Ellen. As always, thank you, Peter. You're welcome, Lynn. When I tune in to my inner purity and innocence is when I become one with this wholeness. And by keeping my focus on this state of being, is that it emerges. The human identity is momentarily set aside. This is what we're talking about. When the identity of yourself is quieted, the natural fluid of the vine overtakes, and it brings this serenity and peace with it. It's very simple, and it's actually pretty easy. It's just that we're on our own way. So true, evolving every day in a better way after broken Brances was ripped off. I don't know that word. Brances. B-R-A-N-S-J-E-S. Branches. Oh, it's supposed to be branches. Sorry. After broken branches ripped off. Yes, so true. When our branches get ripped off, we evolve. This is completely true. And it's natural too. It's not just the vineyard going around pruning. I got an oak tree out here that's old. It's probably its second generation. You know how you can tell an oak tree? The first generation is a single stud tree. And then next generation, kind of two, and then maybe three, and generation upon generation. And this one over here is pretty old, and its branches have fallen off. It's a twin tree, and it's pruning itself. It's self-pruning. It's old. It's old. And the roots will just keep on going, even after the pruning. All right. I got another minute. I'll see you at Mystic Tea Salon. I'm sorry I didn't get to everybody on the list here. Hi, Judy. Hey, Emily. Let the ego, the gallows on which our beliefs and identity hang, dissolve into unity. Annie Lamont. Nice. They say plants can sense when their caretaker is near and get excited. Well, we can talk a little bit about that too. Love to you all. See you soon. Mystic Tea Salon. Link is below. Peace and love. Thanks for being here live. Sure appreciate it.